apparently, according to a study, there's a study out that says men look more masculine when they wear makeup. And look,
Mr. Reagan.
you probably have seen, if you've gone to Nordstrom's in the recent past, you've gone to one of these like department stores with this kind of like bougie, you'll see that some of the men, they wear like foundation and maybe like a little lip gloss. Like a lot of like otherwise straight men have become a little bit effeminate lately and been wearing makeup. And it's, I must assume that they're gay. I must assume that they're gay, these guys behind the counter.
It's a capitalist culture. So the more stuff they can get people to buy. If you get men to buy women's products and women to buy men's products, just like putting women into the workforce, you can tax them, right? So the more people that buy unisex products, it's like, corporations make more money.
I guess. I mean, it's a good explanation. I don't know why
I never thought of that. Yeah.
I could have finished my sentence before you jumped in, but yeah, okay.
Weren't quick enough.
I clearly not. But so I like giving Kurt crap in front of. It's probably not millions of people, but at least 20.
Yeah. I don't worry about interrupting you. You didn't even put on makeup for this, so clearly you're not taking it seriously.
I did put on makeup. I actually did put on makeup. I use a little concealer because I had a spot here. Ladies and gentlemen,
you look very masculine, so the article was right. No discussion needed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's a pretty funny idea. This idea that that men would look more masculine with makeup. This is obviously not true, but I tweeted this out this morning, and I wrote, "Trust the science, guys. Trust the science."
Mm-hmm.
That was my.
Well, in the 80s, they're going by the 80s, because in the 80s, all the rock groups, all the rock bands, they were all wearing makeup, and they were the man's man,
the glam.
So they're bringing that back, I guess.
Had threw that out there, but I don't think. Okay, despite the fact that these 80s rock groups wore makeup, Twisted Sister didn't really look masculine to me. Boy George didn't really look masculine to me. I don't know. If you were drawn to maybe wearing a little makeup, what do you think?
I thought you were going to say if you were a man. I was like, wait a minute. If I was drawn to wearing makeup, well, Elvis wore mascara, so his eyes looked better on stage back in the 50s. So if Elvis,
that was a popular thing in like the 20s, in like the silent film era.
Sure.
And then I think it was brought back by the goths.
Yeah. Maybe in the silent film was an issue with picture quality, so you could see everything better, the lips, the eyes, because we didn't exactly have 4K
because it was such low resolution. Yeah. And I think that might even go back to the theater days when, people would be sitting in the back and they'd want to see these people,
right? Yeah.
Like vaudeville and this sort of thing. But anyway, I've, when I first started working in Hollywood, they make you wear makeup actually, because when you go on camera, cameras don't have the same kind of what we would call, what do they call it, Jace? You know what I'm talking about. The amount of light that you can get from darks to brights. What do they call that? Dynamic range. Cameras don't have the same kind of dynamic range that our eyes do. So if you look at somebody, they look a little bit oily or they look a little bit sweaty or something. On camera, it's going to look ridiculous. They're going to look ridiculously sweaty. They're going to look ridiculously oily. So you need what they call like powder, right? You need to like powder your like here and here and like your nose usually. And for a little while,
it's unnoticeable on film.
It's much more noticeable. Like you get these massive. Look at Kurt's face right now. Disgusting.
I took every precaution to get this from happening, but here we are.
He sweats a lot. All right. Do you guys want to, Kurt? Jason, you want to talk about this story? You talked about the 80s. Kurt, you talked about how this is good for
this article
capitalism.
Seems to me just like one of those things that's just kind of like a clickbait type of thing where they're like, oh, we're going to get people engaged in this. Like I'd like to say they know it's ridiculous, but we are talking about, leftists here. So, I mean, who can really say that with any confidence? But that would be my assumption coming from someone who is not a crazy person. Like, okay, well, they can't possibly think this is true. This is absurd.
Right.
It's not. They're just because it's actually demasculating. They just want to demasculate people, and they're just trying to convince men that it's masculine to wear makeup when it's
okay.
Huh?
You think people? So you think they're gonna that they're intending to convince people with this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
The user
Yeah.
Trump1
it's possible.
just wrote one word: sodomites.
Mm.
I think that's probably sums it all up. But this is an example.
He was
of...
accusing us of that.
I certainly hope not. I think he means.
Was there a question mark? Sodomites?
Yeah, question mark. Only on the weekend.
Winking.
So anyway, no. I think this is an example of how science does get it wrong. This is a study that was either obviously very biased, or they interpreted the results in a certain way, or there's a method that you can get the result you want called p-hacking.
The study was conducted entirely in West Hollywood, California.
Yeah, I know. Actually, some of those, I have a friend. He's my ex's hairdresser. This guy, gay guy out in Hollywood, and he this guy is one of the most jacked guys I've ever met. Like, he's huge. He looks like an ox, right? It's because a lot of these guys now, these gay dudes now, they do tons of steroids.
Mm.
What happened to our friend? We seem to have lost someone. All right. Well, hopefully we get him back here in a second. But anyway, these guys, these gay dudes are now like jacked. They look like the Incredible Hulk, because gay men, they care about their aesthetic, I think, more than straight men, obviously. And this is a thing now. They all look. Well,
if you're gay,
brutish.
getting stuck with a tiny little needle like that is nothing compared to other stuff you go through. So I mean, the barrier of entry is very low.
And now you understand why I had Bert come on the show.
You got it. Yeah. While you're back there, never mind. We should move.
Big Doug says that the guy in the picture looks like he got beat up. I'm going to have to add Jason back. He disappeared for a moment. I don't know what happened. Hey, Jason, what happened?
Hey, mic went out.
The mic went out. Oh, so you were trying to talk and it wasn't working.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you hear me now, right?
Yes,
I can hear you now. You sound beautiful. Okay. Any last thoughts about makeup making you look super straight?
Don't do it.
Just say no, as Nancy Reagan used to say. All right, guys, I have been asked to sell this portable heater, and it doesn't sound particularly exciting, but you know what? I think it's a pretty cool thing. This is a super economical space heater for your bedroom, your living room, your office, or anywhere else that you want to turn into a warm, comfy space. According to this company, the savings in the first month alone will help pay for itself. So if you're one of those people who gets a little too cold during the winter months, pop over and buy this little guy and save yourself chilly discomfort for the rest of the winter and the spring, which, back in Oregon at least, springtime can often be unexpectedly cold. So get warm right now for a whopping 55% off, plus it's risk-free with a 60-day money-back guarantee. So go to www.getwarmnow.com. That's getwarmnow.com.
Jason, you're married, but Chris and I are still single guys. So if it turns out that we hit enough of a dry spell, then I might try something like putting on some makeup. We'll see. If it comes to that, I may move over to the dark side.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars. And it's been said if we lose that war, and in so doing lose this way of freedom of ours, history will record with the greatest astonishment that those who had the most to lose did the least to prevent its happening. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth.